Well, hey guys, happy Friday. Tomorrow is the first day of summer, so I thought I would do an updated video on my top 10 tips for skin and hair care for swimming pool season. It is that time of year where we want to jump in the pool, but pools have chlorine in them, which can really be irritating for not only your skin, but also for your hair. And not only the chlorine issue, but obviously with swimming outdoors, you have sun exposure. The combination of chlorine, sweat, and sun can wreak havoc on your hair and your skin. So my number one tip has a dual function, and that is to apply a thick layer from head to toe of a water-resistant SPF 50 or higher sunscreen before you get in the pool. This serves two functions. First of all, it will protect your skin from UV damage while you're swimming in the water. You're at an increased risk for a sunburn while you're in the water because your body temperature is lowered by the cool water temperature, so you don't realize that your skin is burning. So definitely do that, but the water-resistant sunscreen will also provide a barrier on the surface of the skin that will reduce the irritation from the combination of the water on the skin. Water, as I've said in other videos, is a skin irritant. It dissolves some of the natural lipids in our skin, so having that barrier on there will help with that, but then the chlorine itself is also irritating. I will list down below in the description box some excellent water-resistant body sunscreens that will achieve this. But my number two tip is for people who, rather than swimming in a swimming pool that's outside, are swimming indoors in an indoor pool, like competitive swimmers, and this is more of a year-round thing for you, and that is to grease up with Vaseline. Vaseline will achieve the same outcome of providing a barrier on the surface of the skin from those irritating pool chemicals, and it also will help with chafing. A lot of swimmers experience chafing and irritation from just repetitive motions with swimming, and so Vaseline can also help with that. Number three tip is, as soon as you get out of the pool, whether it be an indoor or outdoor pool, rinse your skin right away. You want to rinse off those irritating pool chemicals off the surface of the skin. The longer the pool chemicals sit on your skin, the more likely you are to experience irritation. So make sure you rinse in cool to lukewarm water right away. And rinse out your hair with water right away too, because those chlorine chemicals, they can damage your hair. I'll give you some more tips on hair care in a moment, but when you rinse off from head to toe. My number four tip is, when it comes to drying your skin after rinsing off, don't just hang out and let yourself air dry. I know in my skincare routine and everything, I tell you guys how I don't towel dry. I just go ahead and apply moisturizer right away after getting out of the shower. But in the case of being by a pool, this isn't like your normal bathing habit. Go ahead and towel dry the skin after you've rinsed it off. The reason this is important is because if you let the water evaporate off of the surface of your skin, it will actually pull more water out and increase the risk of irritation and dryness, which you're already prone to after being in the pool. So go ahead and towel dry the skin very thoroughly. Also, don't forget to towel dry your feet and make sure that your feet are dry. A lot of skin problems can crop up on the bottoms of the feet related to being around a pool. There's a condition called idiopathic eccrine hidradenitis. It's actually quite common in young children and is triggered by running around barefoot outside of a pool. And what ends up happening is that the top layer of the skin is just kind of gets super saturated with water, and the children's feet, their little sweat glands sometimes are not fully mature, so they're prone to getting these little irritations within the sweat glands on the bottom of their feet and get this like kind of painful rash. It's self-resolving, it's not dangerous or anything, but a way to prevent that is to make sure you towel dry your feet, especially of your young children, and keep them dry and don't let them run around barefoot. After you towel dry the skin and your feet, don't forget to reapply your sunscreen. I talked about using a water-resistant sunscreen, but I want you all to understand that water-resistant sunscreen does not mean waterproof. It'll never say that, nor should it. It really just means it'll hold up while you're in the water, but as soon as you get out, you need to reapply it. You've lost a lot of the protection. The other thing that you need to do is to get out of your wet bathing suit right away. So when you go to rinse off the skin, just go ahead and take the bathing suit off. You don't want to sit in the wet bathing suit because the chlorine and irritating pool chemicals are trapped in your bathing suit. So they're going to be right up against your skin, rubbing and causing irritation. And then the combination of the moisture and those irritating chemicals makes it a recipe for an acne-like flare or a folliculitis on the body. As a matter of fact, a lot of swimmers, competitive swimmers, will suffer from acne breakouts on their rear end related to sitting around and hanging out in their wet bathing suit. So definitely take it off right away. I know it's kind of annoying to do that when you're by the pool all day, but that would definitely be a tip to keep your skin happy. My other tip relates to the end of the day after you've been by the pool, and that is to apply a plain moisturizer to the skin. This will help reduce the issues related to dryness and irritation that come with being exposed to the pool water all day. And if you are unfortunate enough to experience sunburn, your skin is essentially wounded in those areas. You have essentially an impaired skin barrier there, so it's more prone to irritation. It's more vulnerable, it's wounded. So applying a plain moisturizer can really just help soothe the skin. I caution you to avoid products that are marketed as afterburn care, that have anesthetics in them that end in cane. Specifically, benzocaine is common in a lot of these products, and the reason is that it is very common to develop a contact sensitivity to benzocaine in those products when applied to a sunburn. So I don't think those are good products, and I caution you to avoid them. Instead, it's a better idea to just apply a plain moisturizer at the end of the day. It will just kind of help your skin in the skin barrier recovery process and in healing. And even if you didn't sustain a sunburn, which that is the goal, not to burn your skin, you still need a little bit of help because you've been in the pool water and everything. The combination of the pool chemicals and ultraviolet radiation can cause aging of your hair. Specifically, it's called weathering. And people who are more prone to this are people who have blonde hair or red hair. But if you have dark hair, you still can experience weathering from ultraviolet radiation because it denatures some of the proteins in your hair and damages them and makes your hair more vulnerable to damage, and then you're exposing it to the chlorine chemicals. You're also more at risk for this if you have chemically treated hair, whether it be dyed or permed, relaxed, whatever. The hair is more vulnerable to environmental stressors. So my tip for you guys is to wear a swim cap. I know it's probably not the coolest thing, but it will help protect your hair from the elements from the pool, and it will help protect your scalp from ultraviolet radiation. And skin cancers on the scalp are super common. I do recommend, as I said in the beginning of the video, rinsing your hair when you get out of the pool along with the rest of your body. But after you rinse your hair, I definitely recommend shampooing the hair with a shampoo that removes chlorine. They make a variety of these for swimmers. They have chelating agents that can remove certain compounds that actually, for some people, can turn their hair green. Yeah, I'll list some of these shampoos down below, but I recommend shampooing your hair with one of these to remove some of those chlorine chemicals and things from the hair. When you're hanging out by the pool, you should wear a hat, a sun protective hat that has a wide brim and goes all the way around. I have a ton of them. I'll list some down below for you guys. But this will not only protect parts of your face, it also can protect your scalp and your hair. So I recommend the hat, and then I recommend sun protective clothing that is lightweight enough that you can be comfortable outside, but provides some additional coverage. You can't rely on sunscreen alone if you're gonna be outdoors for a prolonged period of time. It's not enough. As a matter of fact, you know, a lot of people will point out, well, once we started wearing sunscreen, the rates of skin cancer went up. The reason for that is that when people started using sunscreen, they thought it was licensed to stay outdoors for a prolonged period of time, and ended up exposing their skin to too much ultraviolet radiation. So let's learn a lesson from that historical point and make sure that beyond just wearing sunscreen, you also protect your skin from the sun by wearing sun protective clothing, seeking shade. And then my final tip is when you choose to go to the pool matters. It's hard to do this in practice, I realize, but try and go to the pool in the morning or in the evening when the sun is not at its peak. Peak sun exposure typically occurs from the hours of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. So try and go to the pool in the morning or in the evening. This is nice, tends to be less crowded during that time, and you get less sun exposure. Yeah, I don't know about where you all live, but here in Texas, public pools are opening. But I know many of you have your own pools. They're really common here as well. Many people have their own pool. Anyways, guys, those are my tips. Have fun this summer, just be safe. And I hope these tips are helpful to you guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.